Hello, this is Sean Smith from English Football in the 1980's, and this, I'm proud to say, is our second interview with a very serious looking footballer, a bit like Mr. Dennis the other week. He looked a bit nervous to meet me, but I'm not going to bite. Hello, Glenn Cockerill. Alright, yeah, thanks for your time today. We've been really looking forward to speaking to you. There's a lot of fans on our site, that me included, that really love watching you play as a professional footballer for many clubs. You were my favourite Saints player, apart from Letizia.
Shout out to Mark last week.
Oh, Mark Dennis as well. He was great. He had some nice things to say about you as well. Now, first of all, I want to get the elephant in the room out of the way. Now, you know what I'm talking about here. So, Mark said that you fancied yourself as Rod. We're talking Rod Stewart or Rod Hull?
No, I didn't fancy myself as Rod Stewart. It's just how my hair is every day in the morning when I wake up.
It's fabulous hair.
And that's how it's always been, apart from the perm years, which was at the Southampton. So it's just how it is. It's just, and then the name's just stuck.
It's a magnificent head of hair, mate.
Thanks.
So your nickname was Rod, yeah?
Not so much early days, but maybe later on, yeah.
Well, we've got a load of questions here that people have posted on our Facebook page. So I'll just kick off with them and see what you think. So the first one is Paul Sutton. He mentions that your brother was a player as well. Did you?
Yeah, John played. He left school, John. He joined the Marines, came out of the Marines, went in the RAF, and then from the RAF came out and played in Australia. From Melbourne, or when Tommy Dock was out there. And then came home, started playing for Stafford Rangers. And Alan Buckley was the Grimsby manager, heard about our John, and I think John didn't get into football, into the league at Grimsby till he was 26ish, I think.
That's really late, isn't it?
Really late, and then, bless him, he only had 4 years, but in that 4 years he got promotion twice with Grimsby, and did great for Alan Buckley, but then ended up staying at the club with Grimsby boys anyway. My dad played for Grimsby, and John ended up then coaching the youth team after he packed in playing. And then managing, caretaker managing, and they had a great record. I think for 10 games, I think it's something like 1-8, drew 1 and lost 1 and didn't get the job.
Oh.
So, but yeah, he's a good lad, John.
He's well liked by the people that saw him play, yeah?
He had a great relationship at Grimsby Town with Sean. And yeah, they did really well together, and he's a good lad, John, good lad.
The next question was from Barney Warner, and this one answers itself. Has he still got his spectacular Barnet? So yeah, we've been there, done that.
Yeah, I'll leave that decision up to you, lads.
A mate of mine, Mick Wood, he's trying to be funny here, but he's saying that, do you have any regrets that a big club like Portsmouth never came in for you?
No.
No, good, correct answer. But he did have a serious question as well. Was there a player that you disliked playing against, and why?
Disliked playing against? Probably disliked playing against because it was always tough. There's a lad, before I made it to the top level with Southampton, there was a lad who played for Southend called Dave Cusack, left footer. And if I disliked him, it was because he was such a tough player, honest player. But if there was somebody, it'd probably be him. You know, when I made it to the top level, there was a lot of lads who I not disliked, but obviously I found it hard playing against them. But I'd give it a good go. You know, like Robbo's and people like him.
Souness.
But he was a bit before me. I did play against him when I was at Swindon in a League Cup game.
Of course, yeah, he would have been at Rangers by then.
Yeah, he was a bit before me, Graham. So I didn't get to the top level till I was 26. But the ones I disliked, but not as a person, it was probably Cusack.
Cool.
Dave Cusack.
It's not a name people probably expect to hear. So I want to go and have a little Google about him later on. A good friend of mine, Simon Cox, he asks if you could compare yourself to any modern player in terms of playing style, what do you reckon it would be? Who do you reckon it would be?
Modern day now. Like,
Yeah.
I think. I don't think there probably is one now that is similar to me, because part of my time as a player, like a lot of lads in the 80s and 90s, okay, I did 70s as well, but you know, it was about getting stuck in and being able to play as well. But I used to look at people like Brian Robson, I thought I was close to, but the lad who's probably packed in now is the Rangers manager. Obviously a lot better player than I was, but Gerrard was probably the last of a breed that was sort of my sort of playing style player.
Yeah.
So probably Steve Gerrard, but there isn't anybody like him now, I don't really think.
No, I think you had that combination of grit. You were a playmaker, and you hit the back of the net. So
yeah. So Gerrard, but obviously he was a step above me.
Oh,
So,
do you know who I think as well? If you don't mind, Aaron Ramsey as well. When he was
when
he hit his peak a few years ago.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah,
But
very
he's-
similar.
Good player. Simon's also asked who was the hardest opponent. We've already had that one. Were you ever jealous of the success of Glenn Hoddle? Because we had two double N Glens in the league at the same time. I suppose that's a line of questioning here. Bit of an odd question, but
No, top player Glenn, great player.
Yeah.
Enjoyed playing against him, trying to get the better in, but didn't manage that too many times. But terrific player. But
yeah,
never
wonderful.
jealous.
Now this is a strange one. What was it like having former teammate Micky Adams as manager at Fulham? And it's funny you should say that, because look who we got here behind, Micky Adams.
Better be careful what he says.
Micky's got a pint glass there, so I'll just be careful what you say, Glenn.
You can tell it's his round. Mine's been empty for like.
It's been empty since I got here, isn't it?
What was it like? No, it was good. You know, I think Mick, if I hadn't have been any different, I don't think Mick would have signed me anyway. But to be honest, when I got released at Orient in 97, 98, Mick came to me, and I don't think we both thought I was going to play as much as I did. I think Mick just brought me in to sort of socialise the dressing room up and keep the lads together and blah blah blah. And in the end, he put together a decent set of lads, and we all got on, and my fitness had kept up, and I ended up playing 30 odd games I think that season.
Well.
Got promoted, and it was a terrific time for me, because I was at the end of my career and still getting promoted, you know. And Mick was at the start of his managerial career, and he's got promoted. So it was a good time, and I'd like to think I was quite professional about it. I remember one or two little occasions, but I think that was after a drink or two when I didn't call him boss, you know, when I forgot who he was. But other than that, I'd like to think I was quite professional about it.
No, Micky put together a good side there at Fulham, and it was kind of like the genesis of the side that went on to have a decent amount of success in the Premier League as well.
Yeah.
So, I used to love watching that Fulham
Good time, good time.
team. What was it like playing under John Sitton, Chris Turner? Is he the one who did that crazy documentary?
Yeah. Chris was terrific. Chris was playing when I signed for Leighton Orient in whatever it was, 94, and so I got to know Chris, and then John Sitton was doing the youth team, and I think he always had that crazy side about him, but I think John's problem is he didn't trust anybody, you know. There was about 4 or 5 players that were older than him at the club, and there was myself, I think Colin West, maybe Trevor Putney, and maybe Sean Brooks, you know, all close to his age. And I think he didn't like that because we were still sort of playing.
Trevor Putney, strong character as well,
Trevor's a good lad, Trevor's a good lad. And,
prankster.
And I think that went against him. And he was a good coach, to be fair, John Sitton, but he had to get involved in things that, if they'd have done it properly, like split it, like Chris do the man management, John do the coaching, I think it might work better. But I think John tried to do it all, and that killed Chris in a way, and they ended up falling out.
That's a shame.
Players don't miss things like that, and you know, they lost. The pair of them lost a bit of respect. Not for me, and I felt a bit sorry for Chris. I liked him.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, that from Lewis Cuss. And you answer the rest of his question about the players and their amount of respect that they had for the managers, and I guess it became hard for them to maintain that, didn't it?
Yeah, we saw a little crack, and you know, when they fall out, players don't miss anything. You know, they see a little weak link and they play on it.
Did you ever come close? And this is Peter Anderson. Come close to joining Grimsby like your dad and your brother?
I didn't really. Which I was a bit gutted about in a way, but I think I broke my leg when I was 13 years old, quite badly, and I think that and I was playing for Grimsby Boys, not when I broke it, but I was playing for Grimsby Boys at the time, and I think that may have put them off. It was a real bad break, and I was out for a year, at a crucial stage, you know, and I think that might have put the football club off. And then I just started playing men's league on a Saturday at 15, 16 years old. I was playing at a tough standard and a good standard in the North Midlands League in 70, 75, 76, I think. And that toughened me up. It made me realise that this game is quite tough, and I did well for that club, and I was still young enough to play for the youth team. So I played for Louth United youth team against Lincoln City in the FA Youth Cup, and Graham Taylor was the manager, and it all went from there. He asked me, I was working in on the docks in an aerosol company, and then he asked me for a 6-week trial, and my dad took me backwards and forwards to Lincoln on a Saturday and a Tuesday night, played for the reserves on a Tuesday and the youth team on a Saturday, and it all went from there. Got offered a deal, and that was it.
You're very well liked at Lincoln, I've got to say.
I had 2 good spells at Lincoln.
Yeah, very well liked. A lot of people seem to be obsessed with who the hardest player was that you ever played against. We've got asked that several times, but as part of the same question, Clive Alfonso, what a great name that is. He asked, what was your best ever game as an Imps player? Anything that stands out? You must have had a game where you completely ran the show and murdered someone.
Yeah, we did. Harry Redknapp's first ever game in charge as a manager at
Sorry,
Bournemouth.
Harry, he's a swear word in these parts,
Okay,
right?
yeah,
Although
yeah.
we're in a PO postcode
Well, you
now,
asked
aren't
me
we?
the question. It was his first ever game as a manager, and Lincoln beat him 9-0.
9-0?
Yeah, 9-0.
Blimey.
So maybe that stands out. And I should have scored. I never ever scored a hat-trick in my career.
Really?
And that day, I should have done. I had 4 one-on-ones, and the keeper saved them all. The keeper got 10 out of 10 the next day in the Sunday People.
Yeah.
And he was brilliant, the keeper, and he let 9 in, and I should have scored 4 or 5. But another lad, there was 2 hat-tricks, Gordon Hobson and Derek Bell.
Gordon went on to play for Saints as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Gordon did, and I scored 2 that day. But the lad Derek Bell, he scored a hat-trick from the keeper's saves from my one-on-ones. So if ever I should have scored a hat-trick, it should have been that day.
So it's his fault. Blame it on the poacher there in the box.
Certainly.
So what else have we got? We've got one of your ex-teammates actually, a guy called Seamus Heath.
Yeah.
He works for I think Northern Irish FA or something like that
Lincoln?
now. Yeah. He said, "What a player!" #machine. A very good friend of mine, Greg, he asks, what was the maddest dressing room shenanigans you encountered or instigated at the Dell?
At the Dell. I didn't instigate it.
Really?
No, I didn't. No, it was down to the manager, Chris Nicholl, when had a meeting one afternoon, and the lights went off, and someone jumped up and threw a punch at him, and I know who it was. And I think that is probably the man. There's been a few. My first ever meeting. I just signed for Southampton. I signed on the Thursday. We trained at Luton on the Friday. Played at Luton on the Saturday. Got beat 7-0 in my debut. Chris Nicholl called us all in. Schultz turned up pissed, and this is my insight into top league. Schultz turned up pissed. Jimmy Case turned up pissed. And Chris went on forever. 2 hours. Oh. And at the end of it, Jim was sat in the corner, never said a word. Schultz said a word. Joe Jordan spoke. David Armstrong spoke. All the older boys. Schultz kept getting up saying he was leaving and kept tripping over this little mat that used to be in front of the door and kept sitting down. And then at the end of it, everyone cleared off and Jim was just sat there. I was in a hotel at the time in Northlands Road.
Yep, I know which one you're on about.
Tubbs's Hotel, opposite the old cricket club.
Yeah, it's called the Blue Keys now. It's really nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was in there and I thought I was just going to go and have a bit of lunch. And Jim stood up and he went, "What was all that about?" And I went, "What, didn't you hear?" And he said, "Not with this turned off," and he pulled his hair back and showed me his hearing aid. He said, "No, I don't listen to shit like that." And so we went off for a pint, me and him. But there was always a few things going off. But
Mark Dennis told me that he said so, there was a good drinking school. Good.
It was all through. I had 8 years. I did 3 or 4 years before Mick came, maybe 2 years. When did you come, Mick? 89, 88? 88. Yeah, so I had 3 seasons-ish before Mick came. And it was to be fair, football was a drinking culture anyway in the 70s and 80s. When I joined Lincoln in 76, the older pros had a drink. And by the time I left Fulham, and then Brentford, who was my last league club, it was still a drinking club. So I've amazed myself that I can remember so much about my footballing days when it was a bit of a haze at times because of the drinking culture.
Yeah.
Completely different. Well, Mick will tell you about the culture now, and it was a culture to us. The minute we stopped playing away from home, there was always cans on the coat. And I can't imagine that happening now.
No.
That was just how it was. It was a social job. It was a drinking culture, and there were some good drinkers from 1976 to when I packed in 1999.
Who was the hardest living drinker that you ever played with?
Jimmy Case.
Jimmy, yeah.
There was a few.
What a player though,
Brilliant.
And I was talking.
He taught me not only how to play, but how to act off the pitch, act on it. But he also taught me how to play even when we'd had a drink. And I can't have done. I'm never going to proclaim I was a great player, by the way, but I think I knew my limits. And I know Mick was my manager for a couple of years. I'm my teammate, so he knew how to pint on a Friday night. But I knew how to manage my body and play the next day.
So almost like a functioning alcoholic.
Not quite as bad. Not quite as bad.
I jest, of course. So Jimmy Case.
I think that's what it was. It was body management, I think.
Yeah. And there's an art to that.
And I was quite a mentally strong lad, character, and I think that got me through,
Yeah, so you hear stories about the likes of Paul McGrath and Brian Robson, and look at the level them two played at,
That's what I'm saying.
Management.
Footballers had a drink and played.
Yeah.
I don't mean directly after, but they did. That's what it was like.
Okay. How did you find your time at Orient?
I loved it. I remember Mick coming through a few times actually because I'd never regret going to Orient because I signed for them and then 6 weeks later the manager called me and said, Derby County want to take you. They're going to give us the money that we gave you, blah blah, so there's no money involved. And if anything, maybe I should have gone and still had a bit more time to drop down a bit because they were a league up and I think they got promoted. It was Roy McFarlane was manager. And maybe I should have gone, but it doesn't take away Orient. I loved it. I had a fantastic time at Orient, and I may have dropped down a league too far, maybe from Southampton. So I should have maybe pushed myself again to go to Derby, but my family and kids were down here in Southampton, and Orient was far enough. I was travelling over to Orient, and we didn't want to move, so maybe it was that did it. And I was 36, I think, or 35, 36 years old. So.
Who's the best player you played with Orient?
Played with?
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you what, we had a few good young kids coming through. Healdy, who I think Mick ended up signing for Brentford. Striker, Bob Taylor, Healdy was the keeper. Bob Taylor was a good young player at Orient. Sean Brooks was an excellent older player, good technique. Colin West centre forward, Trevor, who we just said earlier. We had there was a kid at the back, not a modern day footballer, but Gary Bellamy knew how to play that lower league. You know, there was some good players at Orient, and we were rubbish on the pitch. I think we got relegated first year, and we shouldn't have done with the squad we had. You know, but I had a great time. I had a good time at Orient.
Who was the best player you ever played with in your whole career?
The best player, what, other than Mick?
He had to say that, really, didn't he?
It's a good question because I played in every division, and I looked. This might surprise me, and he ended up winning the FA Cup. But Trevor Peake was at Lincoln City with me.
Good player.
And I'll tell you what, not only a good player, but nothing ever stopped him playing.
Yeah.
And he was a kid not a kid, but he was a year or so older than me, and he was someone that taught me a lot. He never missed a game, Peaky. He'd strap his knee up, he'd strap his ankle up. He would play every game, Peaky. And I was so pleased when he got to Coventry and then won the FA Cup.
Yeah.
But things like that I like about players, you know, nothing stopped me. Jimmy Case is another one, I can't not say Jim. Tiz and Shearer were coming through, and Rod Wallace were coming through when I got to Southampton. And it's easy, I think, to say them because of what they went on to do.
Yeah. I'm hoping.
But there's so many that influence, even Dennis Booth at Lincoln City, and you know, and people like him, and John Ward, a striker at Lincoln City. People like that influenced me because I was only 17.
Yeah.
And I've never really forgot about lads like that, you know, that helped me through. So
I'm hoping to interview a few more Saints players as we sort of go on, because I'm in touch with a few other people.
Okay.
But who would be your all-time Saints 11 that you played with?
Oh, flipping heck. My all-time Saints 11.
You can have
I've
yourself
had some
in
brilliant goalies, and I think Schultz would have to be the one, even though I've had like Tim Flowers and John Burridge as well. Schultz, my full-back, right back would have to be Jerry Forrest.
Yep.
My left back.
No, he's not going to mention.
Some brilliant left backs. I had Mark Dennis when I arrived, Derek Statham, Mickey. Franny was in front really, and Franny's not really in your three leagues. So, cool, blimey, who have I got a pull between Derek, Mick and Mark? I'll toss a coin on that one.
Oh, he just bought you a pint, so I think we'll go with Micky Adams on this one.
Yeah, I'll go with Mick. He's the only one who's signed me as a manager, so I'll go with Mick. Plus, he always gave me a lift home.
He's had his head in his hands there.
Two centre halves. I think Mark Wright would have to be one.
Correct answer.
Mark Wright, and then blimey, some good lads who played. Kevin Bond isn't everyone's favourite, but he did a good job. Kevin Moore, God bless him, was brilliant for Southampton. Razor came and did well for us. Richard Hall, good young player from Scunthorpe, I think we signed him from. Oh, blimey, who would be my centre half? I could even put Nick Holmes next to Wright in, would do a good job. So I will go for Richard Hall.
Yeah, good player. So unlucky with injuries, wasn't he, when he went to West Ham?
Yeah.
I love
So
Richard
Jerry,
Hall.
Mark Wright, Richard Hall, Mickey, and then I'd play 4-4-2, and I would go right sider at Southampton. I would go Rodney Wallace, and then the two midfield boys would have to be me and Jim.
Yeah.
And left side, I would play Andy Townsend, but he took in a touch, so it'd end up 4-3-3, and then the two lads up front would be, which is tough because I've got Joe Jordan to think about, who was terrific for us. I've got Steve Moran, who was brilliant for us. I've got Shearer to think about. I've got Tiz to think about. Clarkey did great for us the first 2 years. My 2 lads up front would go Shearer with Tizzing behind.
Yeah. That kind of has to be, doesn't it, I suppose?
Yeah. And about 100 of them on the bench.
Yeah. It's Colin
Good
Clark.
players, there's some good players and good lads.
Colin Clark would be on the bench for me, definitely.
Oh yeah, there's a lot who would make the bench, blimey. Some terrific players.
Yeah, too
So
right.
lucky. And I've missed out bloody David Armstrong, who was terrific for us.
He was a superb player.
Yeah, I
wasn't
swapped David Armstrong for Andy. There you go. There you go.
he? Townsend out.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us, what are you up to these days, then, Glenn? I'd be quite interested to know.
I'm a male escort, believe it or not.
Okay. Is Mickey your pimp?
Yeah, look, he's doing it now, look. He's organising my next hit.
That's it.
I'm semi-retired. My wife's got a brilliant job. Who's getting this? It's the Inland Revenue.
No. Don't worry about that.
I'm semi-retired.
Edit this bit out.
Yeah, I've got a young wife who goes out to work, and I look after my young kids. I've got 3 older kids and 3 younger kids.
Oh, I know that you live up Oxted way, yeah?
I clean up in bars.
So I'm pretty sure you drink at the same pub as a good mate of mine as well.
Right,
So
Oxted?
yeah. As he said he's seen you frequenting that establishment.
Which one?
I can't remember the name of it now. I've not been up there myself, but yeah, Dale. When you watch this, you can text me and let me know what it is.
Okay, you come up to me, Dale, if you see me.
Oh, he will. Yeah, I'll make sure he does next time. So, but no, it's I think I can't thank you enough, Glenn, for your time today. I won't want to keep you because can you tell me what you and Micky are doing tonight while you're down there?
We've got Stars in brackets, I think. It's an evening with the Stars, apparently, at Southampton Football Club. There's myself, Micky, Ken Moncow, Kevin Davis, Francis Benali, and the FA Cup winner, David Peach.
Cool.
Doing a Q&A evening with.
Oh, well, so I hope that you guys have a really lovely evening tonight.
Cheers.
And above everything else, a lovely Christmas as well. So we've got that just around the corner. So on behalf of our 35,000 plus members, and all of the team that run our page, I could just extend my thanks to you, Glenn.
Pleasure. And how good is that page, by the way? Keep it
Oh,
up.
thanks so much.
Excellent.
And a little bonus appearance from Micky Adams. I think he's Candy crushing it on his phone at the moment. But another player that I've really admired growing up as a Saints fan. And a pleasure to meet you, Mick. Have a good Christmas, mate. Thank you.